Now today we are working on the Acer AL1916 power supply. As you can see, these two caps have almost exploded. They are puffy at the top. The top of the cap is puffed up here and here. And so we are going to remove both of these caps and to see if the power supply in the monitor continues to work. There are two precautions in working with electronics. That one, if you have purchased the item and it stops working, then you are to throw it away because many parts can be burned out, and this can lead to an electrical hazard, fire, so forth. But to practice your electronic skills, you can find refuse electronic products which are in relatively good condition, and to see if your skills are something of which can repair the item. Now, in looking at the item, obviously we have located the burned out parts, but you want to also look at the item carefully, each part for moisture, that you have retrieved this from the refuse. Sometimes it will take up to 24 hours and of the application of drying towels, small items of which to get around the parts and dry them, Q-tips and things of this nature to dry the item out so there's no moisture in the item, and to assure that your repairs will be successful. Now, as we stand around the board, because these two caps have almost exploded, this means that the reactive capacitance of the construction as well as the board has been lowered, where higher current has traveled through the item. This could mean that other parts are burned out. So readily we notice two parts which are burned out, but it can cause other parts of which to burn out as well. And so you examine the board for where the smoke was at when it was burning. And we see here in this area here that you can see the brown color. This can come from manufacturing, but it can also come from an electrical fire or smoke that started as a result of too much current going through the board. And so here, this here shouldn't look so dark. It is only a jumper, but still it's dark as in relationship to the rest of the board. So all of the parts look fine, and they're mostly solid state parts. They do not burn out. You can examine them to see that they are in relatively well state. They are easy. They're not really high technological components. They're basically coils and things and other capacitors. And so they do recommend that you replace all of these capacitors because of that problem where the reactive capacitance of the board has been lowered, higher rate of current has been flowing through the board, and so many parts can indeed be burned out. We'll try the easy fix to repair these two capacitors here and see if that alone is the problem. Now, before repairing the item, as usual, you will have to establish a better working relationship with the item. The item has been purchased, it has let the prior owner down, and so you must allow it to understand that this is not going to be expected. You are taking your time and giving it care, and you don't expect it to let you down. You see? And so the temperament of the item, you must change it. You can't repair the item and then it don't work. So you must allow it to understand that these types of things are not expected. Now, various tools can be used on the item in case it does not comply with your wishes. Various tools. You must antagonize the item to allow it to understand that it must comply with your wishes. You see, you must do this because you found it in the garbage and let the prior owner down, and you're going to take care of it and to repair the item. So let it understand that you're not doing this for nothing. It is not to let you down and so forth. But, this is a process of repair there. You must allow it to understand that very bad things can happen if things don't go your way. So we're going to prepare to desolder the item. We're going to apply more paste flux to the areas where the capacitors were soldered to the board, so that you put more paste flux on the joint so that the item comes loose more rapidly. So we're going to apply a little solder paste here on one capacitor. They don't recommend that you use these Q-tips because they leave the cotton on the board. But when you do things yourself, of course, the rules don't apply. So we'll put more solder paste or flux on the board so that the solder stays liquefied. 200 degrees is recommended for soldering, but my patience is worn out at this point with electronic products, and so we're going to try the 200, but if it doesn't seem to come loose rapidly, we will indeed use 400 degrees. All right. So we're going to heat this up and see if the item comes loose easily. We are using our solder sucker to suck away the excess solder and see. Said 200 degrees, but my experience is that abuse happens immediately. If you use too much heat, the pad will come loose and things of this nature. Electronic products are very cheap. So the flux seems to be boiling, but there's no action as far as the solder being heated up. So we're going to start the abuse process. We turn up the heat to 400 and see if you can get it loose. The old days they used to put gold in the solder joint so you couldn't. And now you might have some other type of silver soldering, which doesn't allow you to unsolder the item. So we'll see if we can get this loose. This is the hard part of getting this to heat up so that you can get it loose, because they don't mean for you to take the item apart. So let's see if we can get some of the excess solder away from this without causing damage. That's the hardest part, is to get this loose. They don't mean for you to repair it. So we see if we can get some of the extra solder out of the joint there. And then maybe that will free up the item and it'll come out. You have to brush afterwards. When you do things yourself, I'm lazy. I don't eject this extra solder away from the board, and it will cause a short. So you brush it afterwards, always. I plug the item in, and I can kind of hear it frying. I don't know if you can hear that sound, but that sound says the item is kind of frying. You can hear it. You can hear it sizzling and frying. There's a problem here. It may not work. But the sizzling and frying, and you hear the high hiss? Sizzling and frying is not a good sound. So the item might be fried and don't work. But we're going to try it in this state anyway. Now, the hissing and sizzling noise was because I did not remove the other capacitor. It did test well, but when it's in this condition, it is leaking energy, and that hissing and sizzling sound that you hear, you can get high pitch, and that sound indicates that it's leaking energy, and the capacitor doesn't work. So we replaced it. We couldn't find the like item. This capacitor is 25 volts at 1,000 microfarads, but it seems to be working with only a 16 volt and 1,000 microfarad capacitor. So if you have the electronic knowledge, you can exactly make you a bundle by repairing used electronic products. Now this particular monitor, the Acer AL1916W 19-inch widescreen LCD monitor, sells used for $100. So that was a nice profit. I picked it up for $0 out of the garbage. If you find a relatively good item, item in decent shape, certainly a quick fix, and you make a good $100 if you know how.